Sasa's very close to us, and yeah, we talked to her family, and they're more than fine with, they know about the internet, and they're more than fine with Sasa being, um, so, yeah, I'm good. Basically, I'm doing this. It's okay, Adi, she can talk. The live stream I'm doing basically, like, we plan on helping her as well. Yeah, we just want positivity, obviously, guys. So, hi. Hi. Sasa is not from a very affluent family, and they can't really afford to pay. She needs special schooling. She's has special needs, and she needs special schooling. And it's about $1,000 a year, and we're also going to help. But I just thought I'd let you guys know that the ad revenue for this at least is going for Sasa, which I will prove to you guys. And yeah, so just anything that we make from this live stream goes towards Sasa and her school. She really needs special schooling, so, and it's pretty expensive for them here. So yeah, I watched the whole ad for her. Yes, thank you. If you guys can just watch the ads for her, that would be awesome. Thank you. And of course, any super chats, anything from this live will go towards her. And like I said, we're also planning on helping her. But yeah, basically I'm trying to YouTube Lover because she does need the help. It's a little pricey. It's like maybe around $1,000 a year US for that. Hey Justine, thanks Fernanda. And I just, like Wanda for the kitty, 50 US. Oh, thank you so much, Wanda. If we take her, will you guys help us? Like, for real? Thank you guys for being part of this, To submit a name, donate 10 to PayPal. No, I have the PayPal there just because, it's going to be a bit pricey, but if you guys want to help. But if not, we're still going to do it,
We hear a lot in this community about false outrage, especially when Foodie does something outlandish or controversial. But this latest stunt she's pulled has people from every corner of Girl World up in arms, and rightfully so. Whenever an animal in Chantal's world is exposed on her channel, we usually hear the same battle cry, "Leave the animal alone." Does she ever listen? Nope, and that's what she prides herself on, making the worst possible choices just to spite people who don't like her. Who usually ends up looking like the massive turd? Foodie Beauty, of course. But this current controversy puts all those previous scandals to shame. This time, Foodie decided to use a child for her own personal financial gain. 10 days ago, Foodie Beauty fired up a live stream, and viewers tuned in to see a little girl sitting next to Chantal. Horror, shock, repulsion, disgust, outrage, and blind hatred are some of the many sentiments expressed throughout the community when she decided to showcase a child on her channel. Never before has she been so outwardly brazen and bold. Not only was the girl underage, she was also a child with special needs, which somehow made the whole situation even worse. And if you think having a child on a live stream was bad, buckle up, because she didn't stop there. She openly and brazenly begged for money from her chat, using the child's school expenses as the hook. Claiming the girl needed to go to a special school that cost upward of $1,000 USD, she proudly displayed her PayPal link and urged people to donate. And donate they did. Foodie later alleges that over $1,100 USD was raised, but with no insight into who donated what amounts. Rule number 1 is always applicable. Foodie Beauty always lies. After promising to show receipts for what she considered real charity, she resurfaced a couple days later in a hotel room in Doha, Qatar, alone. She ended up spending that donated money intended for a child with special needs on hotel rooms and takeout meals. As of this time this video is live, she is still adamant about not having to show anyone any receipts from her latest scam. Foodie either didn't expect the level or intensity of the backlash, or she did it to cause the backlash, which is disgusting in and of itself. Regardless, when she made the decision to put the child on her live stream, she opened Pandora's box. People who don't normally interact in the community were suddenly taking up arms and reporting her en masse to any organization that would be able to stop her exploiting a child. PayPal and YouTube are just a couple of the places where people have reported this illegal activity, but I have personally seen lists going around of contact information regarding fraud and child exploitation in Syria. So I'm almost positive that there are plenty of people corresponding with various entities to get some eyes on this current situation. When something like this happens in a community, it's important to not lose sight of the goal, which is to stop any child or innocent party, and that includes animals, from being exploited. If you see something, say something, right? It's easy to get lost in emotions and anger when dealing with someone who openly exploits vulnerable populations. So please remember, don't let her get under your skin. Keep the focus aligned directly on her forehead. Save your heat for her. Let's send a message that this kind of thing should not and will not be tolerated in our community. We cannot let her set a precedent that it's acceptable to parade children on adult platforms where they are open to perverts, pedophiles, and piss-poor moderation. As a side note, and not that you need any more fuel for this fire, but that little girl was being verbally and openly abused by a pervert in Chantal's chat, and her moderators not only allowed that person to comment the same disgusting message twice, but Foodie later lashed out at the chat saying it wasn't her fault. The entire thing was an absolute nightmare. And the kicker in all of this, that live stream is still up publicly on her channel, with the thumbnail showing the child's face in full view. And again, this is the same woman who had a convicted child sex offender modding in her chat, who she referred lovingly to as her YouTube husband for years. This isn't false outrage, and anyone saying that should probably have their hard drives searched. So here are some reasons why I feel this entire spectacle is an issue. First of all, she's exploiting a vulnerable child for financial gain. Using a child, especially one with a disability, as a tool to elicit donations is exploitative on multiple levels. First, there's the whole aspect of consent. That child does not possess the mental capacity to understand or consent to being on Foodie Beauty's YouTube channel. Her parents, if they exist, most likely have no idea the extent of how depraved and disgusting Foodie Beauty's community actually is. In my opinion, I don't believe that any adults in that child's life fully understand or consent to the public display and monetization of that child, especially across international lines. Foodie isn't just soliciting for donations in Syria. In the past, she has solicited in Kuwait, Canada, Thailand, and now Qatar. That's some real international beeson right there. Now, what about that child's right to privacy and a sense of dignity? Children with disabilities are already vulnerable, and they're already open to discrimination and marginalization. And I hate to say it, but being in a war-torn country like Syria, services and governmental oversight of vulnerable children can also be difficult to manage. There aren't many functional agencies that have available resources to ensure exploitation like this doesn't happen, at least not in the current time. It's hard to keep an eye on the most prone to abuse and neglect when the country itself is trying to heal and rebuild from years of war. And that makes sense. So it's up to regular viewers like you and me to say something when something just doesn't seem right. Using this child's image and her story without clear boundaries or protection puts her in an even more precarious position. Foodie can't even moderate her own beezers, much less random perverts clicking on a live stream with a child's face plastered all over it. Then there's the fact that she's manipulating her viewers' emotions. It taps into people's natural empathy for children, especially those with disabilities. Who doesn't have empathy for a child, especially when using a platform like YouTube or PayPal, where it's so easy to just click a couple buttons and send some money? Then there's the actual grift itself, the fundraising. In my opinion, she has crossed the line and is now committing outright fraud. She did this under false pretenses. If Foodie Beauty collected money stating it would go to a specific cause, like sending the child to a special school, and then ended up using it for herself, that's misrepresentation. It's a core component of fraud. She gets a bunch of money, which she never discloses, and then ends up a couple days later in a hotel room in another country eating takeout, and then she starts lashing out at anyone asking to see receipts, even those who actually donated to the cause. Then there's the whole violation of the platform rules, right? YouTube and PayPal both have strict policies against deceptive fundraising. This could result in her accounts being suspended or banned entirely. She's funneled a lot of these exploitative donations through PayPal. Luckily, however, the good people of the community had reported her to PayPal, and PayPal UK has since responded asking for evidence of the fraud. So hopefully something can be done here. There's also the possibility of international implications. Because this involved money crossing borders and the child actually resides in Syria, it adds another layer of complexity. It could be subject to scrutiny by international charities and regulators, or even law enforcement if the amount was large enough or involved some kind of wire fraud. Remember, she wasn't able to get her money when she was in Syria, and she stated the girl's family doesn't have a bank account. If that all seems super shady and doesn't make sense, it's because it is and it doesn't. Then there's absolutely zero transparency, and she's taking zero accountability. She promised to show receipts, and then she didn't. She's mad when anyone asks her to show anything, an itemized list, anything. This instantly undermines her credibility. Not that she had any to begin with, but the whole thing just stinks and she knows it. She just can't stop the floodgates now, no matter what she does. It gives the impression that she actually pocketed the money, which pretty much aligns with patterns of scam behavior. It aligns with the fact that she left Syria, where she's been bitching and moaning and sweating for a month, and now she's cooling her cracked heels in a hotel room in Doha. She's already planning another fast food funeral as she sucks up the air conditioning. It absolutely destroys any trust in her and fuels her reputation even more as someone who regularly misleads her audience. She's now known not only as just an animal abuser, but as a scammer. I love that for her. And also, nothing about this is legitimate because there are requirements to being an actual charity. First, there's something that's called the verification of need. This simply means that the people who will be benefiting from the charity have been fully vetted and meet the requirements for receiving whatever aid is on the table. It seems pretty standard, and in this case, this due diligence was not done. There's also the matter of a secure transfer of funds. How do we know she's not just sending this donated money straight to someone else? We don't, and that's part of the problem. There's no oversight. Instead, she turned a live stream into a free-for-all donation drive. She didn't use any sort of infrastructure. There's no details, no verification, nothing for donors to say that the money actually went where it was supposed to. This sets a dangerous precedent. It opens the door for her, or anyone else for that matter, to start weaponizing children for quick cash grabs. And then there's the optics. It just looks so bad. Let's be honest. When someone claims donations are going to a child in need and the next thing you see is that person checked into a fancy hotel in another country, what are you thinking? Are you really that stupid? It's practically begging to be called out for grifting or exploitation. And that's what we're trying to do right here. And then there's the long-term damage to the disability community. When people exploit disability, it lines their own pockets. It fuels these narratives that people with disabilities are just props in some kind of pity story, and you should just give them money because of their disability. It also discourages people from donating to real causes. If I get scammed once, I'm going to make sure it doesn't ever happen again. And that might cause me to subconsciously avoid certain charities in the future because of being burned in the past. However, my friends, fear not. Legal consequences may still follow. Depending on how much she actually collected and how it was used, this could be considered wire fraud or charity fraud if the donors actually pursue it. So, if you're listening, if you donated any amount of money to this cause and would like to pursue action against her, you probably have a pretty solid case. The family itself could even potentially pursue civil action for unauthorized use of their likeness or defamation of a child. PayPal or her bank itself may even initiate some sort of internal investigation into maybe misuse of funds or something. And again, this is all being done on an international level. It's crossing borders. So this might be an even bigger deal than if she was just parked in her fart box. So again, in conclusion, this isn't just bad optics. It's the trifecta of moral bankruptcy, potential fraud, and public manipulation. Foodie Beauty may think she can ride this out like all of her other controversies, but when it comes to exploiting children with disabilities for financial gain, the public and potentially the law does not look the other way. This situation is a stark reminder that internet clout chasing has real-world consequences, especially when it involves the most vulnerable among us.
Right? This is my job, and if I can share some of my ad revenue, and if anybody, yeah, 84 a month, but yeah, if anyone wants to help, we are accepting, like, through whatever, they'll all go to her anyways for this live stream. So I don't care, Beezus, whatever. It's something positive, That's thanks, Teardrop, for moderating. Yeah. If you didn't donate, then you have nothing to say. I know, Margie, it's really sad. Basically, in my video, like Salah was like, don't, okay, I'm sorry, babe, I have to out this, but he's like, don't mention that people reported it. I wasn't going to, but I'm not taking the blame for returning the cat, okay? I had no choice. People mass reported it, and we got told we had to leave the cat back with the mom and back in the park. Like, it's a law in Kuwait. I had no idea. So instead of rescuing a kitten who was almost dead, we have to return it. So, and people are like, well, you can't blame the haters. It's the law in Kuwait. If nobody had said anything, I don't think they would have cared. So that's it. Sorry. Did you donate, Rude Bunny? Did you donate? No? Okay. Blocked. Bye. Yeah, her parents are. Yep. Yeah, they're aware. They're aware.